Miami does suck. Okay, so the question is, what Steve was saying is, which team in Florida is going to be the top tier team in the next 3 years? Florida State, Miami, or Florida? Miami's obviously quiet. I'm gonna let you go first. Be honest here, Steve. Come on.
My gosh.
Break it down, like recruiting, coaching,
I think.
schedule.
Yep. Yep. I like what Billy's doing with the organizational stuff. I like where he's at with his quarterback room and Kitna balled out. So I think there's certainly some stability there at the quarterback position, the running back position. He looks good on the recruiting trail. I'm going to say that in 3 years, if I have to forecast things, Florida will be the better team in the state. With FSU second, Miami, with all the money in recruiting, will still be firing their coach and looking for a new one to try to find a way to actually coach a game on the football field. And I think we talked about that enough in the offseason. You can do everything you want with bringing talent in. What are you going to do when the ball gets kicked off? And we've seen how that's worked out for Cristobal. But I think Florida will be the number one team. FSU won't be too far behind. And I think Miami will still be looking for a new coach and, again, struggling to be relevant.
So Florida. So how big is the gap between the three teams?
Florida State, I think it will be smaller than people think. I think with the way that Florida's been recruiting at the quarterback position, I'll give Florida the edge by if we had to rank them in the top 25 and flash forward 3 years.
There we go.
I say Florida is inside the top 10 and FSU is inside the top 15, and I don't know if Miami is inside the top 25.
Okay. Interesting, Steve. I think it's a reasonable. I think that's the biggest thing is because you're able to see the talent. I think Florida State right now lacks the future talent, or it's more unknown at the moment.
Yep.
Recruiting hasn't been as promising for Florida State as it's been for Miami and Florida, and so I think Florida's winning the recruiting trail in my opinion. I know Miami is in the lead at the moment, but I think Florida has some steam that's coming, which is going to put them ahead of Miami. I think coaching wise, I think Norvell's done a great job coaching, so I'm going to give the edge to him. I think Billy could be the better coach. I just don't know if we have enough data on him yet to say if he's better or not, but I think he's going to be. Cristobal hasn't proven to be a great coach. But
recruiter with a huge checkbook.
But sometimes being a great coach is, sometimes that's what matters. If you put the right people around you, that's part about being a good coach, right? So, to be honest with you, Florida's going to be up top. I think it's going to be close for all three. I think they're all going to be in the top 25. From the projection, I think Miami should be over Florida State.
Okay.
I think Miami's going to Miami though. And that's why I think Florida State will kind of squeak it out just because Florida State just does a better job of winning football games, and Miami hasn't proven that yet. I mean, you're already losing with the Heisman quarterback to Middle Tennessee, and that's where my concern comes in. I mean, how much time they're going to give Cristobal to get the right people around him to win. I think they should be higher than Florida State, but I don't think they will. I think it'll be close. I think Florida will be a top 10, and I think the other two will be top, 15 and beyond, top 20-ish area.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hate that. I think a lot of what we're both agreeing on here is that what Florida has in the coffers right now, what the bench strength right now for Florida is stronger than what FSU has. Yes, for sure. And look, if FSU can't get a quarterback, there's nobody guaranteeing that Jordan Travis comes back next year. I know that sounds crazy, but everybody assumes that the next logical step for anybody in college football is to go to the NFL. He's not an NFL guy. He already has his degree. He's not even a student anymore, but he just has eligibility to play. He doesn't go to class. So he's done. He's done with school. So to think that this kid's going to come back next year and potentially go through injuries and practice and all that, this kid could go and use the NIL money and the other things that he's doing on his business ventures outside of football, where everybody else is in class. He's not. He's actually doing things to set himself up for outside of football. So it's not a guarantee that even though Jordan Travis is a junior with a year of eligibility left, that he's the quarterback next year. So like it's going to put FSU in a very like interesting bind if they can't figure out what they're going to do at that quarterback spot. Now they may be able to convince Travis to stay just because they don't have that part figured out, but again, I still look at what Florida. Yeah, I think so. But I think I look at Florida. I look at ETN. I look at the running back room. I look at
the wide receiver room that's coming in.
The wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, I
looks more promising.
Just feel like, yeah, there's just more there. And Miami, don't get me wrong, they got a great class, but I think some of that's going to start to fall apart if they can't start winning games.
Feels like fluff right now.
Middle Tennessee State. It is.
Yeah,
right.
It feels like fake. It feels like fluff. Real quick, we have a Dominic. He used his 4-month as a member, as a pigskin. Says, I'm still number one. Who's taking me out? No one in our fantasy football league. And then Cody Sprague, also 4 months, says fake fans in stadium they rent from Aaron's. I'm referring to Miami, I'm imagining.
Yes, yeah. They borrow it. They borrow it from the Dolphins. It's a rent a stadium.
It's a rent a stadium. Okay. Let's see. I think people like this comment. UF is FSU's daddy from B Bean. LFGM, go Braves, says Cristobal overrated. Couldn't even run a weak Pac-12. They said the Gator Blue looks good on you. The SEC is brutal. That helps Miami. FSU is just a mess, and I could see them hiring a new coach next year. I think Norvell's doing a great job. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a mess. I think it's organized chaos. But yes, I agree. That's the other part that I was kind of, I'm obviously being a little homerish here, but the scheduling is definitely going to be a factor for Miami and FSU where, look, I mean, FSU had a good start. And sometimes again, with the emotion, you get a good start, things could kind of piece together and you could have a good season. So same thing for Miami, where Florida's going to have a little bit more of a struggle with that, in my opinion.
Well, sort of. I mean, let's talk about FSU's remaining schedule here, right? So we just had Wake Forest, right? And this is all on the Atlantic side of the conference. Like, who even cares about the coastal? I mean, like, nobody's even bringing that up. But FSU's schedule, we just had Wake Forest at home, lost that game. We have NC State. We have Clemson. These are all in a row. Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson. We still have to play Syracuse. I understand that sounds like a stupid game, but Syracuse is undefeated right now. And then after that, we still have Miami and Florida. That's a tough road to finish, your last 7 games of the year. So
sure.
All of a sudden, what looked like a very promising start to the year could be it's all paper and it falls apart. And if it does, to some of the comments here, it may end up being doom for Norvell. But if he ends up winning, if he ends up winning 9 games, if he wins 9 games out of that,
he's good.
19 games, yeah, he's good.
He's chilling. Yeah. Rob Little, what's going on, man? Welcome. Muddy says he hopes Utah beats 5-0 UCLA. I think they're going to roll UCLA. Really am. This is going to be a fun week for Pick'ems. I can't wait to be wrong again. Loomis says if AR comes back next season, our schedule is very favorable. I don't know why he's calling me. The Hershey Squirts in Miami from Gabe. All right.